Good morning, my Teaserking family. Well, I don't know what to say. I'm not even hot in college. It's way past that. I went 16-2 with my picks in college. Hit 3 locks. So the first lock, TCU over, which I didn't get till Friday when I was watching the TCU Oklahoma highlights from the week before. And then I caught that the TCU coach was this really offensive coach. I think he was at SMU or one of these teams. If you give me a while, I'll have some tea. But then they're playing Kansas, who I love and who's an over team. So I added that lock, UCLA over. I spotted the first week of the year. That at 64 was a joke. They got to 74. And hey, Nick. Yeah, wasn't it? It was amazing. I mean, and you know what was funny, Nick, is I had circled to lock the Houston-Memphis over and the Washington-Arizona State game over because there were only 57s and they were both over games. Houston does a 65 and Washington does an 83. And I see them in my notes, like when I first look at it, lock, 57, and I didn't lock it, but I had them together, and I had them, if you notice, for 15 units. So just a phenomenal day. I don't play Clemson. They win. Really, there's only two kind of surprises that caught me was the Vegas game, which I guess San Jose State's a little bit better than we think. Where Vegas is pretty strong this year, all offensively. And the East Carolina Tulane game, which cost a couple of the family, like six team teasers. That was the loser. And they were getting 9.5, and they got to the end at the 20, and they got a holding penalty or some personal foul, and then they were back to the 35. They score, it's 24-16, it's a W. But that was the only loser. Even Miami, Van Dyke threw for 400 yards, but I took North Carolina because I couldn't go over, and it didn't get over. It only got to 51. But they held North Carolina to 27. So I think Miami's turning into an under team. Who would have thought that? A couple of surprises. Air Force losing to Utah State. They quarterbacks. They used to be Arkansas State, so maybe they're getting better. Thought Kansas game was over at half. They really turned. Yeah, I there was no way we were winning that game. And then I watched the highlights because I couldn't wait. I said to myself, it was 10-3, and I saw the beginning of the third quarter. Kansas scored with the new quarterback. I go, oh, okay, good. This new guy's not going to be too bad. We can get some points. And I said, well, let's see. We got 20. We got to get to 60. We need 5 touchdowns. 5 touchdowns gets us, I think, right there. We needed 6. But we got the Kansas. We got all 6 touchdowns in the third quarter to get to 31-24, which was 55. So we needed one more score, which Kansas got on that beautiful catch by the tight end to get to 62. And then we got then it had to go higher because it was tied, and TCU won. I like that tight end on Kansas. Jesus Christ, Fairchild. This guy is a superstar. He's as good as the Notre Dame one. Anyway, Georgia, that was 28-3. I'm figuring that's over, and then it ended 42-10. So I'm glad Georgia looked better, but Auburn doesn't have the offense. This week we got Utah, USC. We'll talk more college later, but yeah, what a week. Everything wins. 3 locks, 3-0. Today, what do we got, 4 locks or 3 locks? I think I got 4 locks. Yeah, I got 4 locks. And what I did was I played the TCU with the two locks. So I got them in two teasers, which is good. So let's go through the line. I just looked at it. So Green Bay's already playing. They were 10-3 in driving. I posted them last night. I just thought, I don't really love them because the game's in London, but I played it. So I think I played it -1 or -2. New England 3 and 46.5. Pitt 14-45. Jacksonville 6.5, 7, 43.5. Tampa Bay's up to 10, which is why I'll give you this as my free one. This is why I had Nick and everybody else play it as early as possible to get the 8.5, because I know it's going to 10, and I don't want to go over 3 in a back against the wall game. So thinking I will play Chiefs over 2. Oak. Yeah, I mean, well, you can go either way on it, but one thing that I'm seeing that everybody's missing is they all think that Oakland plays them tough. Well, I looked at the last 5 games and KC blew them out. I mean, they were 30, 40-point wins, so I don't know where they're getting this Oakland plays them tough. This isn't John Madden in the 60s when they played 13 times and each team won 7 or 8 or whatever. I love watching that one when the Chiefs get in the Super Bowl 4 and they finally beat the Raiders. But I don't see it. The Chiefs at home, they lost to Indy. Now, that's where I think it's fixed. How do they lose at Indy and then go beat Tampa by 100? It just doesn't make sense. They should never lose to Indy. The punt returner fumbles. That guy shouldn't be on the team. So we'll walk through these. Let me finish the line. So Buffalo 14-45. It's a big line. Kansas City 7-43.5. Tampa Bay's up to 10, 46.5. Patterson's out. I love Tampa today. There's your free pick. Seattle, New Orleans. New Orleans 5 and 45, maybe 5.5. Again, you got Andy Dalton, who's I think better than Winston, doesn't throw the interceptions. And as we know, Seattle 24-3 is a road dog. San Diego, I have 2-47 against Cleveland. Minnesota 7.5, 44 against the Bears. Tennessee, I see 1.5 and 43. Miami 3.5, 45. The Niners 6.5. And I've seen 39.5s and 40s. Dallas, the Rams, 5.5, and I see 42s now. Philly, 5.5, 48.5. Baltimore, 3, 47.5. And Kansas City, I still see 7 and 51, 51.5. So I got 4 locks in there. I'll give you my free play. So I'll give you Tampa as the free play with the Bengals. How about that? That'll be nice. Had a good Saturday. That's your free play for today. Cincinnati with Burrow, their defense is getting outstanding. Baltimore, they couldn't hold Buffalo, and I'm telling you that Cincinnati's better than Buffalo, but nobody will believe me because I don't like Josh Allen. Pardon me while I eat my health food. I don't like Josh Allen because he runs too much. Hey, G. I'm so sorry with East Carr. It was my only loser yesterday. It's unbelievable. Everything else won, and I don't know why we had it in both teasers. It wasn't like the UCLA or Georgia where the TCU that we should have had in 2 teasers. So we'll get them. I'll be more selective next time to get rid of them. But they were driving at the end, and they got a personal foul. So they ended up at the 20, and had they scored, we would have won. But I don't know why we had them twice. Me and Alex have a 10-team teaser that's live. We hit all the college, and then we've got the locks going today. Yeah, the locks were good yesterday. Even Oregon comes through, Washington over, Oak State over, everything. It was just perfect. And then the unders, Wisconsin held on. Look at the Iowa game, 9-6, and then I won Iowa State under with Kansas State was 10-9 or something like that. I mean, exactly what you think. Derek, Cincinnati not better than Buffalo. You will see when it all over. Josh Allen is really. Um, I'll take Joe Burrow over Josh Allen any day. Um, I'm just not sold on Buffalo. I don't like the Josh Allen runs is my problem because if you watch the Kansas TCU game, the Kansas quarterback, the running passing quarterback hurts his shoulder. The backup, a thrower comes in and lights up TCU. I'd rather have a pocket passer than these runners. And Josh Allen, to me, runs way too much. And then he doesn't even slide. He just takes the hit on. This guy won't last. But the problem with Josh Allen is if you blitz him, he can't read it and he can't get rid of it. And I watched him in college, and it was the same thing. That's really why I don't like him. He doesn't read the blitz. He doesn't know how to get out of it. Watch Pitts blitz him today. All right, so through the games, Green Bay is already going. Detroit, New England. You got Zappy against Goff. You got running back out from Georgia. What the hell is his name? Plus, you got St. Brown might play. He's listed as questionable. He probably will. I mean, Detroit has their back against the wall, but they stink, so I'm not going to bet them. New England also with the back against the wall. I really like Zappy, as you know, from Western Kentucky. He had like 55 touchdowns and 3 picks last year. Now I know Western Kentucky can be slanted, and a lot of their guys do that. Josh Allen is a big boy. I don't argue that. I don't care about that. I care about skill. So I like Zappy. Detroit is an over team. They have 30. They scored 35. They give up 30. They have no defense. So we like to bet against them. Zappy looked good against Green Bay. He hit that nice touchdown pass. I think he'll be fine. I think Belichick. I think they'll run the same plays they did against Green Bay. I think he's ready. He looks good. He's much better than Hoyer. If this was Hoyer, I would be betting on the Lions. I think this game gets to be all you need 40 is in the I think this easily gets in the 20s. I mean, Detroit will put it there, but their defense will put it there. And it's kind of a revenge game for Patricia for the being the Lions coach, but he was a terrible coach, so we'll see what happens. But I think this is an over. I would not take New England with Zappy to win, but I can't take Detroit +9 against anybody because they're terrible. Derek, they're going to beat dog shit out of Pitt getting ready next week for KC. Well, we'll see, Derek. We'll look at the scores. We'll talk about it. Buffalo 14 over Pitt. It's a big number in the pros, 14, especially as we know how the numbers kind of get manipulated. They can easily win by 10 or 11 and not cover the 14. I don't like it in a teaser over 8. Now you got Pickett going. I don't know. Their offense is terrible with Trubisky, so let's see what Pickett does. But he threw 3 picks last week. I would think that he's had he came in the middle, so he wasn't really ready. Here he's ready, right? They had him the whole week, and I'm sure they're going to run very safe plays and run the ball with the Alabama guys. So their defense is an over. Buffalo's the A team here. Pitt's really the under team with they're almost a W, but with Pickett, they might be a little better. But I like Zappy a lot better than I like Pickett. Over under 45. I guess you look at the game, give me a score, and if you think Buffalo, if you think they're really going to put up in the let's say upper 20s, then do you think Pitt's going to score? And if you think it's 28-0, then you can probably go under with the game, or you can, I guess, take Pitt. You can either way. If you think Pitt's going to score with Pickett, then go over 39. That's ridiculous. But I think Buffalo gets into the 20s, not much more. And Pitt, I don't know if they score. They figure they'll get 10 somehow. A pick six, a fumble return, a kickoff return, something. So it's a hard game. I don't like it. I don't like anything about it. I can't bet on Pickett. Buffalo, I can't lay 14 in the NFL. It's just not going to happen. Those aren't the games that get blown out. It's the live dogs that blow out. Jacksonville, 6.5, 7, 43.5. Jacksonville is an A team. Houston's a W team. Kind of a very weak offense. Kind of a weak defense. Jacksonville has been scoring more, not because of Lawrence. They're just good play calls, and they're scoring, and they have a great defense. So I'm hearing on the radio, and this is why I tell you not to listen and why I listen and laugh. Oh, well, Jacksonville, I don't think they're real. Let's see. They shut out Indy, which KC couldn't beat. They go to San Diego and kill them like 38-10. All right, Philadelphia, apparently Lawrence played his normal game and had 5 turnovers, and they still only lost 29-21. I don't see Houston getting the turnovers with this weak defense. Philly's got a very strong, and they're an A team. That's fine. He's not ready for that. Jacksonville's not ready for the A against A dog. That's why I bet him under last week. But here you got him against Houston, who's very, Mills isn't even a pro quarterback, and their defense is weak. I think Jacksonville, this is probably an under and probably a Jacksonville. I can see them shutting them out, maybe a touchdown, something 24-7 or something like that. Their defense, they were smart. They picked the Georgia guy first, and then they added a few more good linemen, or linebackers. So I like Jacksonville here. You've got to catch on quickly that they've changed. That's really the key is, did they change? And they did. So you have to understand the win at Indy, okay, but then the win at San Diego, the win at San Diego, that really cements it. They go on the road and they win. Now, taking care of business as a home favorite's fine. When they start winning as a road favorite, if they go to KC and win, they're definitely an A team. Now they're kind of an A team, maybe, but do you trust Jacksonville? I like the coach. I don't like Lawrence. They can run the ball and their defense. I like their defense. I'm betting their defense here. So you can go either way, Jack or the under. I think I took Jack, but Houston, I'm really betting against Houston. They're such a weak team. Atlanta, Tampa, this is the free game. It's up to 10. I had my people bet it at 8.5 to lay 2.5, keep it under a field goal. I know where the line's going 99% of the time. So when I see an early line on Monday, I knew this was 8.5. I wanted everybody to get it in before it hit 9.5, and then it's gone to 10. Now, we know Tampa lost 2 games in a row, backs against the wall. They're going to be pissed. As far as I can see, the receivers are playing, Godwin and Julio Jones. We know Fournette's playing. We know the defense is strong. We know that Patterson for Atlanta, their Debo Samuel is out. He's out. Knee. So what does Atlanta got? And they got Mariota. Like him running on this Tampa defense. So you've got a great defense. You got Brady pissed off after losing 2. I'm sure the divorce isn't new for Brady. It's something that probably is happening in the summer, but I don't see last week. They didn't lose because of Brady. They lost because they couldn't stop Mahomes. That was a defense. Brady looked fine. Brady will look fine today. They've killed Atlanta with Brady every time. I mean, just killed him. And you can see the line going to 10. This is one of the rare, I might even lay 4 in this game, but I'm glad I got it in at 2.5. That's why I look at the lines. I do mines early. And then when I see we can get an 8.5 in, I jump on it. Because why would you? So this is what kills me. Oh, the sharps like that. Bullshit. The sharps are us. We got it in at 2.5. That's the sharp, under 3. And we're teasing. Here it's 10. Yeah, they'll probably win by 25, but why lay 4 when you can lay under 3? Over under 46. Normally this would be an over, but I think Tampa's just going to 32-0 them. I just, without Patterson, Atlanta's been an over team, so they have no defense. So Brady's going to go up and down the field, and their defense is going to shut down Atlanta. I don't know if I'd go over in the game because of Tampa's defense, and without Patterson, I'm not sure. When I looked at the stats last week, Mariota was like 7-16 for 110 yards. It's like, how the hell did they put up 30 points or whatever on who'd they play last week? Cleveland, 23-20 on Cleveland. Well, that ain't going to happen this week. All right. Seattle, New Orleans. New Orleans minus 5.5. Andy Dalton at the plate. Seattle, as we know, 24-3 is road dog. One note. Play against Houston as a road dog, 13-2. Also, another reason I'm liking Jacksonville. Seattle road dog, 24-3. Now that's mostly Russell Wilson, but it happened last week. They were road dog to Detroit, 48-45. I think this is an over game as Seattle, we can see, is starting to get offense. They got the receivers. That was no question. And Penny ran it down their throats. New Orleans is not a good defense. So you got New Orleans. Do you trust New Orleans to win? Put it this way. Here's teaser logic. Would you take New Orleans and +1 against Seattle, who just put up 100 points on the Lions? And I'd say I don't think you can sit there and say New Orleans is going to win the game for sure, where I'm going to bet my money on New Orleans even. I don't see that. Seattle 11.5, I feel a lot better with that. They started to score. And that's what you start looking at. Okay, they put up 48 on the Lions. They didn't punt. Okay, that's fine. Now they're getting – you're waiting for Denver with Russell Wilson to start getting going, and he hasn't yet. But, I thought, the experiment didn't work. Oh, bullshit. He's just getting used to Hamler and Judy. Doesn't have a tight end. The backs, Melvin Gordon's fumbling against Oakland. They have that game won if he doesn't fumble and get returned 90 yards. So you got to give them 9-10 games to get used to the receivers. They don't do exhibition. That's why he should have played all 3 of the preseason games, at least a half, to get used to the receivers in a game situation, because in practice it doesn't work. Derek, it started with Rams, Tennessee, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Buffalo winning the Super Bowl. You hear here first. No way New England lose to the Lions, 1-3 Belichick team. If that happens, yes, Bill is overrated. Well, I know Bill's overrated, but again, you can't go into the Brady. Brady won all the games, not Belichick, but we'll see. I mean, I feel like Buffalo, and you're like Josh Allen, and I just don't. He doesn't read a blitz. He looked good in the Kansas City playoff game, and losing wasn't his fault. Kansas City's defense sucked. The guys were wide open, but we'll see. Problem I have with Buffalo, they lost all the big games last year during the year. They lost to Tennessee. They lost to Pittsburgh. Any good team they played, they lost. So we'll see how they are. But, they're a good team. I'm not saying they're a bad team, and they'll win their division because there's nobody in it. The Jets, Miami, New England all suck. Anyway, so I like Seattle as the dog in this game. Obviously, 24-3 is a road dog. Over under 45. You got Andy Dalton. I don't mind. We'll see. It should be an over. Both defenses suck. So you have 2 over defenses, you have 2 passing offenses, and you have Dalton in for Winston. So, yeah, this should get over 45-39 is nothing. So I agree. This should be, but I think I like Seattle or the over, either one. I think whatever your preference is. San Diego 2 over Cleveland and 47. Play against San Diego as a road favorite 10-2, and overall it was like 44-8 last week. What was that? What was that stat? Where was that? Play against San Diego overall 45-8 because you won if you played against them last week. So 45-8 playing against San Diego. They never beat you big. Cleveland, I think, is pretty high. I think their defensive ends playing, the guy from A&M who I can't remember his name. I think he's playing. Yeah, gee, I agree with you. He needs that's the struggle we have on our end of it, picking the games with all this movement, right? Even in college, right? You got all this movement. Well, the quarterback just doesn't go. Imagine if you get a new job, the first month you don't know what you're doing. It takes a while to learn the system, and that's what they have to do. Well, Russell's not losing it. I'd still take him over, half the quarterbacks, but he just needs to get used to it. He's not. That's not the reason they're losing. Gordon's fumbling, but he doesn't really have receivers. Denver's and their defense isn't that strong. He'd have been better off staying in Seattle with Metcalf and Lockett and Penny and now Walker from Michigan State than he is here. But he's not. I can't say he's a bad quarterback. So Cleveland is a dog. They're not a big home dog. San Diego bet against them. Over under 47. Now this is an over game, so this probably you need to play this game over. San Diego doesn't have Bosa, and they don't have their wide receiver, Keenan Allen. Looks like they're both not playing. Cleveland's getting their players back. It's just San Diego with Herbert will score because that's what they have a good offense. Hopefully the coach doesn't see what I'm noticing now. Some of these overs aren't getting there because on these 4th and 1s at the 20 where they should be kicking a field goal, they're going for it and not making it is the same as a turnover. It's the same as a fumble, right? You got the ball at the 20. It's 4th and 2, 4th and 3. Kick the fucking field goal. What do you get the points? What are you doing? And then they go for it, and then they don't make it, and the other team gets jacked up, but you're screwed on your over because they've just taken time off the clock and they haven't gotten any points for you. So I'm noticing all this 4th down is really helping unders if they don't make it, unless it's at their own 25 when these idiots go for 4th and 3 at their own 25. There's no reward. If you get the first down, now you get the ball to 28. Now what? No, you still at your own 28. So I don't see it. So I like the game over. San Diego scores without Bosa. Their defense is a little weaker. Cleveland's weaker. Now they get the defensive end back, the all-pro. God, I can't remember his name. He comes back, so that'll help the defense, but he's not ready. You can't just come back. You need to play a few games to get into game shape. So I like the game over here. Maybe Cleveland and 8, probably not bad either. The Vikes 7.5, 44 against the Bears. The Bears under team, weak offense, somewhat of a good defense. They play the low-scoring games. The Vikings, I haven't been able to figure out. Right now, statistically, they're an under team. How the hell can you be an under team with Jefferson and Thielen? And what is that? Who's coaching this team? Man, they should be scoring 30 points a game with those guys. One game he doesn't throw to Jefferson. One game he throws to him 10 times. I mean, this Cousins really blows. A lot of interceptions. I think this is only way to bet is under here. Can you bet mini -1.5? If you want to trust Cousins, go be my guest. Otherwise, I think under 50, I don't see how the Bears will ever play a 50 game. Yeah, we agree. The Denver coach has problems. So does the San Diego coach. So does the Detroit coach. Most of these coaches, I mean, they just hired 11 new coaches and they have no idea how they're hiring. They're not hiring good, go hire the coach at Utah, man. That guy's freaking great. Hire the Wake Forest coach. You got Hartman, you turn that team around. Wake Forest, come on. Anyway, as we saw, you can't hire the Ohio State coach or the Alabama coach because they don't stay. So I guess you could play mini. I like the under better. Just the Bears under. That's a lock always. Tennessee 1.5 over Washington. I have a little trend on Tennessee betting against Washington as a home dog. Tennessee's starting to come alive, but I like him as a dog at Indy more than I like him as a road favorite. Washington's just Carson Wentz is terrible. The defenses are over defenses. Tennessee's got a weak offense, and Washington's a little bit better. Now, theoretically, this is an over game. Over under 43, over 37, with 2 over defenses. And, Tennessee starting to score. Again, they're a little skewed from the Buffalo game. When you get killed like that, it kind of skews you for a few weeks. Washington gets killed by Philly, gets killed last week by Dallas. Dallas 25-10, Philly 24-8. Those are very good defensive teams. Tennessee is not. I look for points in this game. Over 37, I think, gets there just because the defenses are lousy, but so are the offenses. So it's a real tough game. But if you do want to play it, I'd play it over. I can't take Carson away. I can't take Washington 7.5, but I don't love Tennessee in 4.5, except for Henry. So we'll see. But it's not. If Washington was favored, then I'd be all over Tennessee. The Miami 3.5 over the Jets, over under 45. Miami is an even team with an over defense. Teddy Bridgewater in for Tagovailoa, who is out and is not a head. It's a neck. He got his neck snapped going down, not a concussion. The Jets, weak offense, but now they've got Wilson now back, which will help. Zach Wilson, very good from BYU. Over. This should be an over game, 45. I don't mind Bridgewater. You got Hill and Waddle. So he's got weapons. So they should be able to score. The Jets have no defense. Miami's got no defense. 39. Again, all you need is getting in the 20s. It shouldn't be that hard, fellas. So I like this game over. I'm not taking the Jets, and I'm certainly not taking Miami as a road favorite. I don't really like. Not a big trend there. The Niners in Carolina 6.5 and 40. You got to love the Niners. They killed the Rams. They kill everybody. Just a suffocating defense. Carolina under team, weak offense, under defense. So they will keep the game low scoring. The Niners will probably shut them out. You can take the Niners even or go under with the game. I think 40-46. This is like a Georgia game almost. Suffers a little bit. I wish it was a little bit higher than 40. But again, you got Carolina, who's not going to score in the game. Let's face it. Maybe they get a 7, but I'm looking to see a 20-7 game here. Dallas and the Rams. The Rams 5.5, 42. Can somebody explain why the Rams are favored in this game? I think Dallas wins. I think the Rams, as much as they probably need the game, the way they looked against the Niners, they did beat Arizona 20-12. This Niner defense is suffocating, especially with the kid from Penn State. He's just amazing. And the over's down from when we played it on Monday at 45 or so, down to 42. This game will be very low scoring. Dallas just swallows you up. I love Cooper Rush, much better than Prescott. Stafford, as soon as they pressure him, the kid from Penn State's going to have 5 sacks tonight. And as soon as he pressures him, Stafford freaks out. He gets happy feet. He falls down. Don't look for the Rams to do any scoring in this game. They are an over defense, so look for Dallas to win. And I maybe 20-3, 20-6, maybe. Maybe them get a touchdown. Not a lot of scoring in this game. Philly 5.5, 48.5 over Arizona. As we said, Arizona is a terrible home dog, 10-1. Play against as a home dog. Philly has been hot. Jalen Hurts, even though he can't pass, has been okay running. Arizona does not have the defense to hold him. Philly is an A team, very strong defense. The weather will be fine. I mean, they're good. They're an okay road favorite. Strong. You got a strong A team against an over team. And I just don't see how Arizona can win this game. Here, I do feel comfortable that Philly even will win. Over under a 48.5 against this defense, the way they held Jacksonville, I don't have confidence that this game, if I got to play it, I would play it over, but I have more confidence in Philly, especially Arizona bet against as a home dog, 10-1. So it's weird. Arizona as a road dog is 11-0. They go to Carolina, they get the easy win. As a home dog, they suck. Just you can't explain it. I guess they're playing really strong teams at home to be a home dog, and when they are, they can't handle it. The strong defenses just shut Murray down. Cincinnati, Baltimore. Baltimore -3, 47.5. Cincinnati 20-4 is a road dog. Baltimore play against home favorites 6-1. This is all Cincinnati. Cincinnati wins the game. Joe Burrow has been hot. Their defense has been hot. Lamar, what can I say? He blows a 20-3 lead to Buffalo last week. Really? That was ridiculous. Where was he in the second half? He didn't show up. He forgot to come out that there was 2 halves. It's got him 20-10, and all he needs a point. And the last play with the interception. The coach should kick a field goal, so add him to the list of coaches that need to be fired. But also, he throws an interception. He goes back. He doesn't read the defense, so he should have known where to go and where to throw it before the ball came to him. Then he gets the ball, and he's running back, surprised that they blitzed him. Instead of reading it, throws it into a crowd, and it gets intercepted. And throwing it away. Well, it was 4th down, so he shouldn't have. If he's on the field, then that's got to be a running play. That's got to be an option. He fakes it in the line, and he runs around the end, and then he puts a move on and use your ability. That's Lamar Jackson, and that's that play should have been called, not a pass at the goal line where there's no room for the receivers. So that was a terrible play by the coach. He should have changed it to a run if they're going for it. The whole philosophy of not taking the lead, this coach should be fired. Just terrible. But with that said, I don't see how Baltimore blows out since he can blow out Baltimore as they did twice last year. Burrow has this under control. Chase, yeah. I mean, since he's a live dog, this is the other free pick today. Tampa Bay, Cincinnati. There's Kansas City 7 over Oakland 51. This is Oakland's kind of a over team. They score in the mid-20s, give up upper 20s. KC's a B team, but their defense has been weak because we know they're not the strongest defense. Tampa lit them up last week. 51, a high number, but doable. I like KC -1. Also, I think KC, that's what I was telling Nick in the beginning of the show, that everybody thinks that Oakland plays them tough. They don't. The last 4 games, Oakland killed them. 10 or something like that. I mean, they weren't close. And KC at home on a Monday night, the way Mahomes looks against this defense. San Diego plays them well because they have a better defense. Well, Boza was playing. So you had Boza and Mack. They were going to stop him, but Oakland has nothing near that. So I don't see how they're going to stop KC. Good luck trying to stop Mahomes when he's on fire, which he looked. And they got the loss to Indy in their minds, so they're still kind of pissed about that. And they got the Tampa Bay, gives them their confidence back, but there's no KC -1's a joke here. So that's the game. So free pick, take Tampa. Backs against the wall with Cincy, a very live dog. I got 4 locks going today. Hit all 3 locks yesterday and missed 2 more locks that I didn't play that I should have. The Washington over and the Houston-Memphis over should have been locks because the over-unders were only 57. Can you believe the over-under in the Washington-Arizona State game was 57? They ended up in the 80s. Like Washington puts up 45 by themselves and Arizona State scores. Watch for some new quarterbacks yesterday. I noticed Utah State switched quarterbacks. Now, I think the guy might have got hurt, but this guy is so much better. So what ends up happening now is all of a sudden a team does not react like you think because of the new quarterback. That happened last year with Miami and Utah, and I use those as a good example. Van Dyke comes in, they go from an under to an over. Rising comes in, and they are a whole different team, and you can see how good they are this year. So we got Zappy in. Be careful. We got Pickett in. We got Dalton in. We got Bridgewater in. So we got new quarterbacks in the pros, and they're going to make adjustments. Bridgewater should be good. Dalton, I don't mind at New Orleans. I think that's a plus. Pickett and Trubisky, they both, I don't know. Let's see how good Pickett is. He throws 3 picks last week. It means he doesn't know how to read a defense. I'm sorry. So I don't expect a lot from Pickett. Zappy, I do expect. He tied up Green Bay in Green Bay. He looked good. I expect an upgrade at New England. So I think New England will be better. I think Miami will be better. And I think New Orleans will be better. And then just keep your eyes on these other quarterbacks. Let's see. Okay. Bridgewater. Yeah, I like Bridgewater. I just said. I like Dallas. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I would not get rid of Rush because Prescott cannot read a coverage and wants to run too much and throws too many interceptions. I would keep Rush in there. Lamar blew the lead. Wow. Lamar didn't show up in the second half. It shouldn't. When you're up 20-3, why did it not go to 27 and 30-3? That's really, you lose the game there, right? Out of halftime, where's the points? 20-10, where's the points? Then it's 2017, then it's 2020. Okay, at the end of the game, they drive. Now the coach totally fucks up. Should have kicked the field goal. 20. You always want the lead, especially in basketball. It's one thing when the game's tied, there's no pressure on the guy because the game's tied. If he misses, we go to overtime. But when I need to hit 2 free throws to tie the game, there's huge pressure on me. It's always huge pressure to tie. So in this case, if they're down 3, the pressure on Buffalo just to get the first down. And then the kicker, okay, let's say they kick the field goal to tie. The pressure on him is enormous. Then let's say they get the ball deep and maybe they go for it on 4th and 3 because they don't want to settle for the tie. The odds on that are 10% that they're going to get 4th and 3 at the 10-yard line instead of kicking the field goal. So you put too much pressure on him. You've got to take the lead. That's the stupidest. And his response was even dumber. Well, we'll leave them at the 2. This is not Michigan, Ohio State in the second quarter when you've got this great defense. Baltimore does not have the Ohio State or Michigan 1975 defense, okay? So you can't say I'm going to leave them at the 2. No, you kick the field goal, you take the lead, there's a minute left in the game. Are you out of your mind? So I think Harbaugh is losing his mind, much like Jim Harbaugh, and we'll see about that. Tampa Bay, like you said, I'll add Buffalo. New England, Cincinnati, Kansas City, Monday. I'd be afraid of Buffalo. Is this a teaser or straight, Derek? I'd rather see you on some of my my unders. I would lead you to think about the Frisco game instead of Buffalo. Anyway, any other questions, comments? Now we have time. It's 11:30. Games start at 1. So I've done my little college homework already. So this is next week's college games with my lines. And I've already spotted 3 locks, pending on what the real spread is. You got Kansas and Oklahoma. I love the dog there. Kansas just showed you they played with TCU. They came back. Even if it's the backup quarterback, I don't care. Oklahoma sucks. Okay, when TCU beats them by 100, I think, well, TCU's got this great offense, which they do. But now Texas 49-0. Now, granted, Gabriel didn't play yesterday, but where is their defense? This is a big rivalry game. They give up 49 to Texas, who has their backup quarterback and a great running back. I love this Texas running back. He made this catch yesterday. It was unbelievable. I mean, I don't know how he caught it behind his neck or whatever. So you've got the dog there. I'm praying Kansas is the dog, but I think they'll be 7-point favorites. Penn State, Michigan. I'm loving Penn State. I do not like this J.J. Walker kid from Michigan at all. Penn State, I think, gives them a game. I think they can beat them. But normally this is a home series, so I'm hoping for enough points with Penn State. Ole Miss, Auburn. Ole Miss I like if it's not too many points. Texas, Iowa State. So Iowa State, we got the under against Kansas State is the easiest. It's almost as easy an under as the Iowa-Illinois was, but I didn't play that. Why I didn't lock that game, I have no idea. The Iowa-Illinois, 2 strong unders. That's what gets you is the point spread, right? It's 36. How the hell can I lock it 36? And yet they didn't even get to 10. It was 9-6 or something like that. I mean, what the fuck? How do I, but, obviously after the game, it's easy to say you should have locked it, but that had it all over. Texas, Iowa State. Again, this is Iowa State will shut that running game down because that's what Iowa State does. They held Kansas 14-11. Kansas puts up 50 on West Virginia, puts up 30 some on Duke, puts up 31 with their backup quarterback on a very good TCU team. So all of a sudden, Iowa State 14-11. Now Kansas gets the win, which is incredible. 14-11. They hold Kansas to 14. So I'm hoping for a bit. I'm hoping the Texas win inflates the spread. See, people don't like Iowa State because they're not flashy, but they're a very good team with a very strong defense. So I'm looking at Iowa State if I can get enough points. Like the Washington. Did anybody like my Washington State pick yesterday? They're up 14-10 late in the half. And then USC wins 30-14. We cover. We had 19 in Washington State. They're a good team. They're a strong defensive team. And USC just kicked field goals in the second half. That's all it was. It was, what was it, 17-14? It goes 24, then 27, then 30. At the end, they kicked the field goal to keep us within the 19 or 18 and a half. And there was a W with Washington State. You've got to catch on to these new teams. That's what I do the best. So Iowa State's very live here. Texas is going to be flat. I thought Oak State was flat to TCU for a while. And I thought that TCU was flat against Kansas. Look at that first half. 10-3. Are you insane? And then they score 40 points in the third quarter. But basically, where was TCU the first half? That was being flat from the Oklahoma game. Well, what do you think, Texas? They're going to be flat from the Oklahoma game. Colorado. Colorado sucks. Cal's not much better, but that's good. Let's see. Georgia Vandy. I'm hoping Georgia. This might be a week I take Georgia at the under in the game. I got to see what the under is, unless it's a really high under. Vandy can score, and Georgia's playing a little higher. They didn't shut out Auburn, shock me, and they put up 42. So Georgia, I think, is getting a little bit pissed, and I think this is a team that last year they beat them like 70-0. So this is a game where you might play Georgia and be careful on the under unless it's in the 60s. Then we can go under. But Georgia is, I think, getting a little pissed at these close games. They are the best team in the country. Look at Alabama now. Their second string quarterback played, but there you go. Second string quarterback. Oklahoma gets killed. Alabama barely wins. Who else was second string? Arkansas loses, but still goes over, even with Jefferson out. So all my quarterback things, they all lost or didn't cover, and Alabama's guy doesn't play. So keep that. You got to know if the quarterback's playing. Very good game here. Tennessee, Alabama. Now, I like tennis. Look what they did to LSU yesterday. Jesus Christ, they killed them. And they're not going to be flat for Alabama. And now if they can do that to LSU, I will see them score on Alabama. Even A&M drove on Alabama. Now, what does Alabama do? They pressure. They run a five-man line and pressure the quarterback. See, they attack. They don't lay back with the spy. They attack you and force you into mistakes. Tennessee will be prepared for that. Hooker can run very good, and he's a very good quarterback. He's the type that I'd rather have than Lamar Jackson because he can run, but he's very accurate and a very good long thrower. This is the type of quarterback you want. And if Lamar Jackson could throw like this guy, he'd be the best quarterback in the league, but he can't. That's my Lamar Jackson problem. So if I'm Baltimore, I go after this hooker from Tennessee. This guy's very good. I don't know. I got to see what Army's doing next week. I haven't played Army at all this year, and I regretted not playing Wake. Hartman's like 15-0 now, 15 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Watch Michigan defense look locked in, especially at Michigan. I don't know. Their defense, I'm looking at the Maryland game, and they gave up a lot. UCLA is playing great, but watch Arizona State. They're playing good right now. I'm not a big Arizona State fan, but UCLA, they've been a home dog to the two best teams, and the only thing left is USC. UCLA should be in the playoff if they beat USC. After beating UCLA, they'll probably have to play Oregon for the Pac-10 title, which will be that over is going to be 150. Colgate, the team, Army will destroy. Well, yeah, but we don't play Colgate. There's no line on that. Tennessee will beat Alabama if the quarterback plays again. Well, he looked bad, but the difference is the team. A&M with this really strong defense. I would have thought, here's the play I would have run at the end. You got, fourth down inside the 5-yard line. And if you've seen A&M's running back, Agassi, I think, this guy's unbelievable. This guy's like very shifty running back, very hard to tackle. Not Barry Sanders, but Barry Sanders kind of style where the first guy can't tackle him. He's just very shifty. I would have just pitched him the ball or maybe on a reverse. I think I would have reversed him and let him pick his spot. He would have scored. That guy is very, very tough to tackle, and the quarterback was not going to – the quarterback sucks, let's face it. He wasn't going to beat him. How that game was 24-20, I have no idea, but I didn't play Alabama because of their backup, and they didn't put up their normal 40. So, yes, I'm praying Alabama's 14, but it'll depend on the quarterback. And I'll tell you, even if it's Bryce Young, I like Tennessee. I kind of hope it is, and then I can get 20 in Tennessee. That's a W. If it's the backup, I'm worried Tennessee might be favored, but I don't know. I don't see Alabama being a dog, but the way Tennessee beat LSU, they certainly can beat Alabama. Oak State, TCU, love this game. Take the dog here. This is the game. This is the Big 12 championship game, basically. Great offense in TCU. Spencer Sanders at Oak State's got like 17 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Very strong. Also over in this game. This game will hit 75 easily. I'm praying it's a 60, but it probably won't be. Probably be about 65. What was it yesterday? TCU. Well, it was 66, 67 against Kansas. I think it would be about the same, and I think it is the same result. Hopefully they don't wait till the third quarter to put up 40 points, but this is definitely an over and definitely a live dog. Oak State went into Baylor and beat them. TCU with this offense kills Oklahoma. And then they had enough balls to come back against my Kansas team. And again, my Kansas covers. They've covered every week. They're unbelievable. And okay, no, they're really not that good. TCU will kill them. And they didn't. And Kansas had the lead late in the game. And then they're knocking on the door at the end to tie it. And it took a miracle catch by TCU to take the lead. It was an unbelievable catch. So keep your eye on Kansas against Oklahoma. Kansas is going to beat Oklahoma. I'm just praying they're the dog. And then TCU, Oak State, take the dog. I got TCU -7, probably a 67 over under, but these are my what they should be lines. Arkansas 7 over BYU, only if Jefferson plays. Although BYU woke up against Notre Dame. I was watching some of that game, and it was like Notre Dame's killing them. And then all of a sudden, there was something happened, and BYU got pissed off. And all of a sudden, their quarterback looked like their quarterback again, and they marched up and down the field and made a game out of it against Notre Dame. I love Notre Dame's tight end. That guy, Meyer, is unbelievable. So I don't know. I don't know which teams show up. Again, without Jefferson, I like BYU. With Jefferson, I think I go over on the game. Wisconsin, Michigan State. Michigan State's so bad. So is Wisconsin. They finally put up 40 points. I was like, stop. We had under 52 or 53 in the game. And it's 42-7. It goes 42-7. It's 49. I'm like, enough. So fortunately, Wisconsin just ran out the clock. But it was like, and that's what I didn't. Whenever they score a lot, I never expect it. But the quarterback threw for 6 touchdowns. So Northwestern's really our Z team. And again, Wisconsin keeps playing. The only teams they can beat are these Z teams. James Madison, Georgia Southern will be a good game. James Madison, I told you, is an A team. Beat Arkansas State 42-20, a 62. So that was they're a very strong offensive team, and they got Georgia Southern. So this could be another over. I like Arkansas State put up 20 on them, so Georgia Southern should be able to put up some good numbers. As we know, they're the over. We had them over against Georgia State. It was over in the third quarter. God, I love Georgia Southern over. Arizona, Washington, another over game. I got Washington laying 14. Arizona can score, but their quarterback turns it over a lot. But they got over with Oregon. They got into the 70s there and early. I love that game. I didn't have to stay up till 2 a.m. to get the over. It was there in the third quarter. Oregon, man, they just score. Jesus. Florida, LSU, I'm not going to even bother with that. Clemson, Florida State. Clemson's playing better. I should have played them against BC, but I don't really trust Ugalabi. So, but against Florida State, this should be an under game. Mississippi State, Kentucky. Kentucky's quarterback was out. South Carolina beat him. If he's out, we'll take Mississippi State. Probably be a lock, but if he plays, then this goes to an over. Mississippi State still went over with Arkansas without Jefferson, unfortunately, and I was all set to lock that game over, but I can't lock without Jefferson. You don't know what you're getting, and the second stringer didn't look too bad. That's where you don't know how the second string quarterback's going to play. East Car, Memphis. Our only loser, yes, so we lost Vegas, was East Car, the bastards. They didn't show. Now, I would expect this game to be really high scoring. Memphis, high scoring team. Notre Dame, Stanford. Notre Dame's looking good with Pike as the quarterback. I think they'll kill Stanford. North Carolina, Duke is a rivalry game. This game probably will be really high scoring. North Carolina beat Miami. Fucking coach of Miami's killing me. But if you notice my discipline, I have not bet Miami over all year. I took them once against Southern Miss, and I got the win, but they looked bad, and then they finally beat them 30-7. So I am off Miami. But this is what separates us from the rest of these bettors is you can't fall in love with Miami and Van Dyke and just play them, right? Blindly. Well, they were good last year. I'm going to play them this year. You've got to get off it. You've got to play each team individually. So therefore, Miami's not the team to play. Georgia Southern's the over this year. Kansas is the over this year. TCU is the over this year. So you just move on. The theory's the same, but they're not Miami. That's why I am so successful is I don't paint the picture. I don't play the jersey. I play the team. Oh, they score 40 and give up 40. That's my over team. Georgia Southern, there we go. All right, let's see. Utah and USC, game of the day. I got Utah laying 7 at home. And this game is over City. I mean, I called that game perfectly, the Washington State game. USC did not go over. It was 30-14. It was a 44. Over under was 64. I saw it. I said, this is ridiculous. I am not going over with Washington State. And they played a great defensive game. Held them to a lot of field goals. Washington State's a very strong defensive team. Please note that. Utah, I got 7 over SC. I don't know if SC is going to be favored or not. If you're giving me Utah as a home dog, I'm taking Utah in 2 seconds. I'm taking the dog in the game over if it's in the 60s. If it's in the 70s, it's a little too high. I don't like this. And the 72, what did I tell you about UTSA Western Kentucky 72? I said, don't play it. It didn't go over. Yeah. What did we do? We played the 57s over, the Memphis, Houston, the Washington game over, and they both went into the 70s. You can't do a 7. It's just too much for an over-under to go over with. So Utah, USC, game of the week, explosive teams, 2 great quarterbacks, defenses. USC seems to hold it, but they're not going to hold Rising. You are not holding Rising down. If you make USC the favorite, I am taking Utah in a heartbeat. I'm taking the dog in the game and the over if it's reasonable. This will be a very high scoring game, and Utah can very easily win the game, especially at home. So keep your eye on this one. Washington State, Oregon State. This is under City. Hopefully this is in the 50s. Washington State, great defense. Oregon State, great defense. You can tell by what they did to USC, but the quarterback was hurt. Chase Nolan did not play in Oregon State. What was their flannel last night? They beat Stanford 28-27. So the quarterback's getting a little adjusted, but Stanford stinks. So 28-27, they're not going to score 28 on Washington State. This game's an under, depending on who's the favorite. If they make Oregon State the favorite, we're State is a live dog. The under is the play in this game also. San Jose State, Fresno State. All of a sudden, San Jose State looks like a very strong team. Fresno State gets killed by Boise. Hayner going out. This backup's not very good. Boise puts up a 40. I love San Jose State if it's not 20 points. If it's 7, 9, we'll take San Jose State. There doesn't seem to be as many games next week, but there are. And that's next week's look ahead. Again, 17-2 last week, 16-2 yesterday, this week. It just blows my mind that normally when you look at a game, you expected, like I expected UCLA, Utah to go over. That was me and Nick had talked about that from the beginning of the year. I'm waiting for that game, and I'm waiting for UCLA USC, and I'm jumping over on them. But it doesn't always happen. You get like the USC Fresno State game. Haener breaks his ankle in the game, which you can't predict, and it doesn't go over. But that was also a very good over bet. Well, this is also the same thing, but we got it over, right? So they ended up with an 80, and it was over early in the fourth quarter, so you don't have to sweat it out. That's the beauty of over-unders. Overs are great because you get over in the third quarter, it's over, the game's over, you won. The unders I can't watch because Georgia, I don't think I've watched the Georgia game. I just wait till the end of the game and see, 35-0, and we're laying 55 under. And then it's just hard to watch it because if they score, you're like, oh shit. Like the Jacksonville Philly lock last week, under 53. I couldn't watch the game, and it was 20-14 at half. I go, there's no way I'm going to win. And it ended 29, and then at 50, and I'm under 53. So it's just so hard to watch the unders. The overs you can watch and just hope for points. And then you get like yesterday with the Kansas game, 10-3 at the half with Kansas and TCU. Are you kidding me? And then they woke up, and then they exploded. And I didn't see the final. I finally saw the final, and it was 38-31. They got into the 30s. That's all I wanted. Hey, Major James, another strong Saturday for us. Tennessee will beat Alabama. Tennessee might beat Alabama no matter who quarterbacks. Don't kid yourself. Good analysis. People pay close attention. Yeah, I try to break it down. A, so it makes sense and it's smart, and B, so people understand it. One thing I know when some of these gold guys talk about it, especially these attorneys, they don't talk to the audience. They want to show how smart they are, and they talk words that nobody knows what the fuck they're saying. They're all here, the conglomerate of this and that, and the coefficient is, whatever. And you're like, what the hell? Now, I mean, I am fully educated in economics. I got a master's in it. I understand every word that they say. I don't know what the hell this guy's talking about, but I don't teach it to you that way. I teach it to you at a very easy level so you can understand it, because that's the point. I learned that, and they play fast pitch softball. Well, they did when they were younger. And I was trying to coach the second graders, and it was, you try to teach the kid how to hit, and the lights didn't go on. I could see the eyes were. So I made it mental note, try a different way until the lights came on. And that's what I did. And that's what I try to do everywhere, not just here, is to explain it so the lights are on, so you guys understand it. Otherwise, it's pointless for me to do a show in a class and teach, and then nobody understands what the hell I just said. So yes, I try to make it very simplistic, but I'm giving you reasons for every pick. Once you know why we bet it. Now, does it win or lose? That's the different story. They should win based on the basis. Utah USC should go into the 80s. It might not, but it should. But on the same token, we had USC Washington State not going over, but we took Washington State because there was so many points. And it was 19 and we won, but the over was 64, and there was no way I was betting Washington State over. They got too good of a defense. So you have the reason. I'm not. We saw USC against Oregon State that said, aha, you can stop USC if you just play them and then let them, and then they kick field goals. And that's lesson learned from the Oregon State. We used it with Washington State, who's got a very good team. They're much better than you think. Oregon's going to have a hard time with them. Anyway, that's what I try to do. So it's got to be that. Like you said with Iowa under. Yeah, I mean, that's really the theory. So let's recap today. Just for the new ones, we got 12 o'clock. We got an hour. So Detroit, New England. New England's 3-46. This is as of 11 o'clock. I like the game over. I can't really trust Detroit, and I don't like New England Getting 3 was zappy, but I think New England wins the game. Buffalo 14-45. I am leaving this game alone. I don't like to lay 14 in the NFL. In a teaser, it's 8. I don't like to lay 8 in the teaser in the NFL. Pickett, we'll see what they do. I think he'll look better today. I think they'll run short little patterns and try to run the ball down Buffalo's throat because they know it's the only way they can win is to run and play defense. So we'll see. Houston, Jacksonville, 6.5, 43.5. I like Jack and the under in the game. Play against Houston is a road dog, 13-2. Tampa Bay, 10-46 against Atlanta. Tampa Bay is your free pick because they must win. Backs against the wall. Brady does not lose 3 games, and Atlanta's got Patterson out, so it looks like this is going to be a 30-point Tampa win. So what it looks like, hopefully we get that, what we want. Seattle, New Orleans, 5.5, 45. Dalton starting. Seattle 24-3 is a road dog. I like Seattle here and the over. San Diego is 247 to Cleveland. Play against San Diego is 40. Yeah, I probably should write it here. 45-8 in the last couple of years. If you play against San Diego, doesn't matter. Rivers. Now you've got Herbert. They still are terrible. If you can still bet against them. They don't blow up teams. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the coach or what. They just don't blow teams out. And so I kind of like the over in the game. Minnesota, 7.5, 44 against the Bears. And unless Mike Ditka and Gale Sayers are playing, I like Minnesota and the under in the game. Tennessee, 1.5, 43 against Washington. God, I can't bet Carson Wentz, so I think it's an over. It's so low at 43, but both defenses suck, so there should be some scoring. 37, all you want is the teams to get into the 20s. I mean, this is pro football, I think. Miami, 3.5, 45 over the Jets. Bridgewater in. Both defenses suck or over. This should be a high-scoring game. Zach Wilson looked pretty good last week. Over 45 is 39. Again, both teams get into the 20s. San Francisco, Carolina. Frisco, 6.5 and 40. Carolina sucks. They have no offense at all. Frisco looks great. Deebo Samuel. I like the Niners. I like the under in the game. Dallas and the Rams. The Rams, 5.5, 42. I don't know why the Rams are favored. Stafford's looking like he's at Detroit again. I like Dallas, and I like the under. Dallas's defense, the kid out of Penn. I want to call him Micah Parsons. I think that's his name. I know there's a Micah Parsons, but this guy is unbelievable. He will sack Stafford 3 or 4 times and a lot of pressures, and then Stafford falls apart. As soon as he starts getting sacked, as soon as the pressure comes, he falls down. Watch him. And so he's not going to be accurate. Maybe he gets a touchdown. Philly, 5.5, 48.5 over Arizona. Like Philly, play against Arizona as a home dog in a teaser. All my trends are teasers, 10-1. Philly should win the game. They're much the better team. And Arizona's not good at home. So it's not like, oh, they're at home. No, they suck at home. Baltimore, 3, 47.5 over Cincy. Give me Joe Burrow and the 9 all day long. KC, 7, 51 over Oakland. Give me Mahomes -1. After losing to Indy, they are not going to lose this game. They own Oakland, and they beat them by 30, I think 4 of the last years. So look for KC here. Those are today's plays. I have 4 locks going today. My 3 locks yesterday all won. TCU over, UCLA over, and Georgia under. I analyzed the teams, so the overs and the unders. And when I get UCLA playing Utah, Rising and Thompson Robinson, so I'm keying on the quarterback, and I see these are high-scoring games. And Chip Kelly, we know he scores. Utah has been scoring with Rising, so it made it. That's why I played the over as opposed to playing UCLA as a home dog. I did have UCLA as a home dog against Washington. So I don't always just play the over-unders, but when it's applicable, I do. Georgia, we know with that defense is always an under if the spread's high enough. It was 50, so 56. Game ended at 52. Georgia scored late. Georgia put up 42. I think they were tired of putting up 20s, and so they shut them down. So 3-0. Everything else won yesterday, but Eastern Carolina, just a beautiful day. I had another 10 picks that won that I didn't even play. You get to the point how many. So that's what we got today. Again, we can do the $100 special next week where the whole week's $100 as opposed, like normally it's 1.25. Normally it's 75 college, 75 pro, 75 for the locks. But if you buy the whole week, a 1 week, it's 1.25. So we'll do 100 next week. It's fine. I don't mind that. That's perfectly fine. And I'm so hot right now. I want people to make money and buy your gold and silver. Anyway, that's about it. So enjoy the games. Why do they play these London games? You think I'm getting up at 9 o'clock to watch the Packers and the Giants? They got to be out of their minds. Anyway, that's about it. Gold's about to go through the roof. My guy ran out of silver yesterday, so I went and bought 2 ounces of gold. The Maple Leafs were $17.95 and the Eagles were $18.95. Big precedent on the Eagles because the U.S. Mint's running out. There are not a lot out there. My guy I bought the 2 Maple Leafs. He had 3, I think he had 3 Eagles and 3 of these U.S. Buffaloes that I don't like. I'd rather have the Eagle, but they were the same price. So, that's all he had, a few. The silver, he was totally out of Eagles. And he had these new silver pieces. They were 3/4 of an ounce from Canada. And then he had these from the West Indies. And I kidded him about the East India Trading Company. And these were 1.25 ounces of silver. So it was just at the $23 price. And then you would have paid. If you bought the Canadians, the 3/4 of an ounce, it'd have been 23 times 3/4. So it would have been like $18, I think, for the 3/4. Run back and get another 20 of those. Even though the 3/4 ounce, when silver hits 5,000, you're going to your gold's going to go to way up there. And that's going to be, I want to buy a house, I want to buy a car, here's an ounce of gold. But when you go into Target, you're not going to want gold. Now, I do own 1/10 of an ounce gold, 1/4 of an ounce gold, 1/2 an ounce gold, and ounces of gold. I have the different, but silver is really an ounce. Silver is like, go out to eat, go to the grocery store, go to Target. You're going to want your silver for that. So the 3/4 ounce might not be a bad thing to get. It was Canadian, but it was a commemorative. My Canadian guy isn't on. It was basically a commemorative car. It was like 1812 to 2012 or something. So it's probably like their nation's 200 years old or something. Like we did a 1976 quarter. They did this silver piece and they made it 3/4 of an ounce. So as far as I know, it's a commemorative piece. Like you'll see a silver Donald Trump or you see a silver Buffalo. Those aren't real money, but they're an ounce of silver, so you don't care. You just want the ounce of silver. And I think that's what this is. It's a commemorative Canadian piece. So I might go pick up some of the 3/4, but it's getting scarce, everybody. And all that I read, the Russians are backing their gold and silver. The only way the U.S. is going to survive is to back their currency with gold and silver. It's the only way. So that's what we have looking forward to. Get your gold and silver. My analogy on Bitcoin, I've been thinking about this, is like a baseball card. The difference is if I have, I'll use this if this is a Mickey Mantle card or a Joe Burrow, I have it. I can give it to you. There's a movie where the guy has a Yao Ming refractor and needs 4 tires, and he gives it to the guy, and the guy puts the tires on in lieu of this. Okay, so this is at least an asset. Pretend it's Joe Burrow or Mickey Mantle or whatever. What is a Bitcoin? Okay, so if somebody wants to give me a Bitcoin, I can't even accept it. I don't have a Bitcoin account. I don't even know how to get the money. I don't know how to, is it money? No. Can I, like right now, when I get paid by PayPal, I move it into my bank. Then I can get the money. Then I can go buy gold and silver with it. If it's Bitcoin, I don't even have like a bank to put the Bitcoin in. It just sits in Bitcoin. But that doesn't make any sense to me. That's not an asset. I'd have to, I guess, sell it, or okay, I want to sell an ounce, give me money, and then move it into the bank like my IRA, and then grab it and put it into US dollars. So it's not money, it's not gold. Gold, I have the coin. So with gold, I can walk into a restaurant or a car dealership or buy a house. Here's your ounce of gold. You have the gold. You don't have a Bitcoin. And if you don't have an account, I can't give it to you, or you can't give it to me. And that's really the difference. It's really a collectible, sort of like a Rolex watch. Well, not even a Rolex. A Rolex, this is good for you, Nick. So the Rolex basically is like, how do I get rid of gold? Well, how do you get rid of Rolex? It's the same thing. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of, I know people with the Bitcoin get defensive and don't quite, I bought it, it's going to go up, but I don't know why. It's like betting a football game, but you don't know why you bet it. So anyway, 12-12. I think that covers it. Let me know if you have questions or comments. You go to www.teaserking.com. You can get my email. You can buy the picks. If you want the $100 package next week, you can go to PayPal and email it to me, or you can go to teaserking.com, buy the 75 and 25 packet. Email me on PayPal, and my email's on there, so you can see how to get a hold of me. Questions or comments? I got a couple of live 10-team teaser opens that I put 5 college with that did not include East Carolina, and they won. So we're waiting on my plays for today, and then make some people some serious money on a 10-team teaser. That's what I have. Good luck today. Please let me know if you have questions or comments. All right, 4 locks going. Free play, Tampa Bay. Cincinnati is the dog. Okay, everybody. Hey, again, get a hold of me, www.teaserking.com. Get my email, and certainly email me. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the class, and tomorrow we'll talk about the week in college that just happened. Okay, thank you.